Hello. This project is going to be discussing Duchenne muscular dystrophy from the perspective of a woman. As we know, Duchenne muscular dystrophy, or DMD, is an X-linked recessive disease that primarily affects men and is relatively rare. However, it can affect women too, though at a much lower prevalence that sits at around 1 in 50 million. DMD in women can be inherited from a carrying mother or through de novo mutation, and its phenotypes can vary wildly depending on things like X inactivation, with some women having milder symptoms and others having much more invasive phenotypes that are called manifesting carriers, though the mechanisms behind the full phenotypic spectrum have not been fully understood. Because the prevalence is so low, it's often difficult to find perspectives from women who have DMD. More importantly, clinical trials for girls with DMD are extremely limited, both in the US and other countries. Fortunately, we've had the opportunity to connect with a woman from Paris who is 29 and has DMD. She's going to be briefly giving us insight in her own experiences and helping raise awareness. And without further ado, we will get right into that. So to begin with, hello. Let's start off with basic introductions. So what's your name? Where do you live? How old are you? And what's your mutation?
Hello, my name is Feriel. I'm from France. I am 29 years old. I have mutation stop of exon 12.
Can you take us through your DMD diagnosis? What was that process like?
A doctor at the hospital diagnosed me with Duchenne muscular dystrophy when I was 7 years old. It was hard to find this disease. I started to fall a lot from the age of 3. The doctors thought it was because I was born premature. They thought I was cerebral palsy, like one of my sisters. We are triplets. A neuromuscular doctor saw me when I was 7 years old. He saw that I had big calves and that I was walking on tiptoe. My parents told the doctors that I often fell and had difficulty getting up, that I was going up the stairs with difficulty. The doctor decided to do a biopsy for me. He took a piece of my calf. 2 weeks later, the result arrived: Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
What was it like for your parents hearing this diagnosis?
For my parents, the news was very hard and shocking because they always believed that the disease only affected boys. And also because no one has Duchenne in my family, and my parents are not carriers of the mutation. My neurologist in Paris told me that I'm affected by Duchenne like boys, and that is very rare in women with Duchenne. For women with Duchenne.
How has your DMD progressed, and what kind of aids or support do you use?
I started using a wheelchair when I was 11 because I couldn't walk for long. When I was 16, I was operated on my back because this disease affects the muscles of the back. I had scoliosis. The operation lasted 6 hours. I was put on an iron bar to strengthen my spine. I have been sleeping with a respiratory machine at night since I was 26. It is for my chronic respiratory failure. I take medicine for heart and blood pressures, for osteoporosis, for stomach ache.
And on to the next question. Does DMD make your day-to-day activities any more difficult? And if so, can you give any examples?
Duchenne doesn't make my activities too difficult, except in winter, because I hate the cold. I can go out on my own when the weather is nice. At 29 years old, I use my hands very well. I can drive my chair for a long time, write, eat alone. It's a feat when on a Duchenne.
Have you looked to enroll in any clinical trials? If so, how difficult was it to find trials that accept women with DMD?
I wanted to register for clinical trials, but it only concerns little boys with Duchenne and doesn't concern adults. Research is only focused on children at the moment. Little girls with Duchenne are not affected because there are very few in France.
Has DMD affected your mental health in any way growing up or currently? For example, your ability to socialize, identity, the way you were treated by others, etc.
Because of Duchenne, sometimes I have anxieties, afraid of dying, so I take medicine. It calms the anxiety. With this medicine, I live normally. It reassures me. It's horrid to say, but with this disease, it's hard to find friends or a boyfriend because people think that we are necessarily going to die young or that we can't do anything with our life.
How have you enjoyed life while having DMD? What activities and hobbies do you enjoy doing? What gives your life purpose?
I love my life despite Duchenne because I'm calm and positive person. I like going to the cinema, to the theater, to the museum. I think every Saturday with my singing teacher. I like to travel a lot. I have visited many countries. I really like to bath when the sea is warm, to swimming. I love going for a walk. Traveling is one of the most beautiful things in the world. Cuba is a beautiful island. Tunisia is a very beautiful little country. I really like Spain. I only go to hot countries because the cord paralyzed me and I breathe less well. I have a lot of mucus in my lungs in winter.
Is there anything you'd like to see improved in healthcare for girls with DMD, especially in the treatment and diagnosis processes?
I would like the clinical trials on gene therapy to be tested on little girls who have Duchenne. If it works, adult women with Duchenne will benefit from it later.
If you were to meet another young girl who was just diagnosed with DMD, what would you tell her?
If I met another girl who just found out that she has Duchenne, I will tell her, don't worry. Duchenne is less serious for girls than for boys. Doctors doesn't know the life expectancy for women because we can live a long time. Not not all women who have this disease have heart problems. Often the cause of death are heart problems. Um, I don't have heart problems, so I'm safe.
Is there anything you'd like to tell the world?
I find it unfortunate that there is not a day for Duchenne muscular dystrophy in France. I would like all medicine students know that this disease can affect girls. We should no longer be forgotten.
Through Priel's story, we gain a new perspective from the DMD community, and one that is not often heard. We highlight in this interview how, even though Friel displayed the symptoms of DMD, it was not initially considered a diagnosis for her due to the rarity of this disease in girls. It was not until Friel was 6 years old that she was diagnosed with DMD. An earlier diagnosis could have significantly improved her treatment. We also highlight in this video the need for research, treatment, and clinical trials to be more inclusive of female DMD patients to help Friel and other girls with DMD. Thanks for your attention.